What a week in wrestling it has been, and it's only Wednesday. What's going on, guys, and welcome to episode 429 of AskGSM here today for Wednesday, February 16, 2022. I'm Graham GSM Matthews. Hope you guys are doing well and having a great, wild week of wrestling as much as I am right now. A lot to get into here on today's show. A lot of Cody Rhodes questions. We're going to get into all the Cody Rhodes stuff. Not nearly as much as the... It's crazy because, so I didn't watch Raw live this week. It was Valentine's Day. Alexis and I were out. I come back home. We watch Raw late. We watched it almost as soon as it ended. We didn't start until close to 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern. And by the time I was done watching that, I don't go on Twitter when the shows are on, or if I haven't seen them yet, at least the major shows, because I don't want to be spoiled. So I missed Raw, and then I go on Twitter at 1 o'clock in the morning after we're done watching the show, 1:30, whatever. And I see all this talk about Stone Cold Steve Austin potentially wrestling another match. I mean, how is that not a big news story for wrestling? I mean, the guy hasn't wrestled since 2003. That's 19 years ago. And then, little do we know, the very next morning news breaks that Cody Rhodes and Brandy Rhodes both gone from AEW, leaving on their own terms, couldn't come to terms on a new deal, blah, blah, blah. I mean, that's crazy. Other stuff has happened. We had Vengeance Day last night, a good show. 205 Live was canceled. There was some other stuff that happened. I just completely forgot what else was going on this week. But those are the two biggest news stories. We will get into them here today on #AskGSM. Answer all the questions that you guys have and all my other additional analysis RJ and I will get to regarding Cody and Steve Austin, Elimination Chamber on Saturday, on WrestleRant Radio this Thursday. So keep an ear out and an eye out for that as well on Podbean. We're on Spotify, Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Pandora, Stitcher, Spotify, like I said, WrestleRant.com, WrestleRantRadio.com. New episodes every Thursday. But before then, though, we got #AskGSM here today. If you want to send in a question to the show, you can do so by tweeting me on the Twitter machine at WrestleRant with the #AskGSM. Find me on Facebook as well, facebook.com/Graham.GSM.Matthews. Drop a question on the post that I usually put up on Tuesday nights, if not on the wall itself. And last but certainly not least, drop your question down below in the comment section on this very video. I'll include your question in next week's edition. Before we get started here with our first question from YouTube, courtesy of Kadeem G, two things I do want to promote. On Monday, we had my interview go up with the NXT superstar Santos Escobar. He was great. The former number one contender to the NXT championship, unsuccessfully challenging for the championship on Tuesday at Vengeance Day. But he was great, though. Really nice guy. We got him on video for an interview on Friday. It went up on Monday in video form here on the channel. And then it went up on an article form on Tuesday on DailyDDT.com. So check out my chat with Santos Escobar from earlier this week. And then coming up, I believe on Friday of this week, before Elimination Chamber on Saturday, we've got the Raw Women's Champion herself, Becky Lynch, back here on the channel, talking all things Elimination Chamber, Lita, Ronda Rousey, her detractors, Ric Flair, and some other shit. So be sure to stay tuned for that as well in audio form. We got her on the phone. She was busy, couldn't do a video interview, but we got her on the phone for Friday. I already talked to her Monday, but that interview is going up on Friday here on the channel. So if you haven't already subscribed, if you're not already hitting that bell button to be notified every time a new video goes up, you're greatly missing out, so please do so. In addition, all the podcast excerpts on Thursdays, Raw Talk reviews on Tuesdays, Q&A videos here, #AskGSM on Wednesdays. We got SmackDown audio reviews every Saturdays, Talking Smack reviews also over the weekend. I'll be breaking down Broken Skull sessions with Ron Simmons over the weekend as well. We do Marvel reviews, Star Wars reviews, and so much more. So again, if you're not already subscribed and have not already joined the WrestleRant revolution, so to speak, you're greatly missing out. Please do so. Nonetheless, let's get right into the questions, like I said earlier, beginning with Kadeem G from YouTube. Their question was, where do you rank Shinsuke Nakamura's Intercontinental title reign as forgettable IC champs that no one cares about? Examples, Billy Gunn, Dean Douglas, Ahmed Johnson, etc. Once Big E dropped the belt to Apollo Crews at WrestleMania 37 Night 2, the lineage died. Not one mid-carder has been booked properly as champion. I mean, how many champions have we had since then? Apollo won it at WrestleMania, and then Shinsuke won it. And that's it so far. I know Shinsuke is facing Sami on Friday. Spoilers are out. We won't talk about that here. But as of right now, we only have two champions that have held it since Mania last year. And you wouldn't think so. Apollo was champion for a good 4 months. He had all of... I think he had more defenses than Shinsuke, but that's not saying much. Apollo lost far more than fucking Shinsuke did. Apollo lost a lot of matches by DQ. He was pinned quite a bit. And the cool thing was that I was happy to see Apollo become champion because he had gotten so many title shots in early 2021. And I enjoyed the feud with Big E. It was a great mid-card feud, I thought. They really put a lot of effort into getting Apollo over as this newfound heel on the show. The accent wasn't great, but still I was an Apollo fan. I like Apollo. And then they just proceeded to do absolutely nothing with him after he became champion, and his reign sucked. Shinsuke's reign was even worse. Shinsuke's reign was worse because he was always on the show, but it was never about the championship. Apollo kind of sort of was on the show, and then he wasn't. It was just a dead title. At least he had championship defenses, though. He defended it in like a couple matches with Big E, a 4-way one time. He beat Kevin Owens in a match at one point. Shinsuke never defended the fucking thing. You would think if he never even came out with the championship, you would never even know he was Intercontinental Champion. Sammy became number one contender in December, and only now is he getting his title shot, because I know Nakamura was hurt, but prior to that point, he had been champion for 3 or 4 months and never defended the damn thing. He beat Apollo Crews once on SmackDown in September. That's it. He has done absolutely nothing as Intercontinental Champion. And that's exactly what I feared would happen, because all of his other championship reigns, as far, not the tag team title stuff, he was tag team champion with Cesaro for a while. I don't really remember much about that reign. But his other reigns as Intercontinental Champion and United States Champion were much of the same. He never defended the fucking championships. And he was booked like shit. And he was also barely on the show. Like, the guy's over right now as a babyface, and that's great. I think turning Nakamura back into a face was the best move for his career at this point in WWE. But the reigns have just been so forgettable, and he could be such a better champion than what he's doing right now. You know, I just don't understand that. So, where would I rank it as far as, like, the worst Intercontinental Championship reigns of all time? You said most forgettable. I mean, it is definitely forgettable. I don't know if it's any more or less forgettable than his last reign as champion from a few years ago. Dean Douglas, I know that he was Intercontinental Champion because I'm trying to get my replica Intercontinental Championship belt, which I talked about a lot here on the channel before, signed by every living former Intercontinental Champion. And he was one of them. I actually met him at WrestleCon 3 years ago. Nice guy. He signed the title. Beyond that, if I didn't know he was champion because of that, because I met him, I probably would have never told you. If you had told me to list off every former Intercontinental Champion in history, I probably would have forgotten him. I probably would have forgotten Ahmed Johnson. I probably would have forgotten Billy Gunn. I've never met Ahmed Johnson. I met Billy Gunn a few years ago, had him sign the championship. He was another one. I honestly don't really ever remember him being champion. I remember him being tag team champion with Road Dogg. Road Dogg's another one. Never remember him being champion. That was another very forgettable reign. The Godfather, he kind of held it around that same time in early, 99, 2000. I do not at all remember him holding the championship. Those were all very forgettable. I'm sure I would, like, where do I rank it? I don't even remember who else was champion is the thing. Ezekiel Jackson was another very forgettable former champion. Again, he was another guy I met. Nice guy. Had him sign the championship. Great stuff. I really like Ezekiel. His reign, not great stuff. Very forgettable. He was champion for all of 2 months or something back in 2011. I don't know where I would rank Nakamura specifically, but he would be in that category. Curtis Axel being another one in the last decade that held the championship that you would completely forget was a former Intercontinental Champion. And he was champion, sadly, for 5 months. He was champion for a while. He won the championship in great fashion, no less, at Payback 2013 on Father's Day, a championship his father held. Awesome. But then the follow-up is complete shit. He never defended the damn thing. The pairing with Heyman was just a complete waste of time. He never got over. He was booked very haphazardly, like he would win sometimes, he would lose sometimes. His reign was not great at all. So he had another very forgettable reign. I'm trying to think who else in recent years. Axel, Ezekiel Jackson. Again, I know I say forgettable, which is probably why I'm forgetting some names here. Let's pull up the list of Intercontinental Champions, actually. I won't go, maybe, I don't know if we'll go all of them, but let's just double check here. I've had most of them sign my championship over the last number of years. Like some of the early ones, like Ken Patera was, to me, a very forgettable champion. I probably wouldn't even know who he was had he not been Intercontinental Champion. He was champion for a long time. He was champion for like 8 months. To me, he's forgettable just because I wasn't watching at that point, but like Pedro, I know was champion, obviously Pat Patterson, Don Morocco, Tito, Greg Valentine, Ricky Steamboat, Honky Tonk Man. Like those are all memorable, I think, Intercontinental champions. The Mountie was champion for all of 2 days, so I mean, he was probably forgettable because he held it just, I think he won it at a house show that weekend, and he lost it that Sunday at the Royal Rumble to Roddy Piper. So I guess by that definition, he is forgettable as an Intercontinental champion. I mentioned Billy Gunn. Dean Douglas, you mentioned. Mark Mero, pretty forgettable former Intercontinental champion because he was only champion for about a month. I totally forgot he was a former champion. Road Dogg I mentioned. Goldust was champion quite a bit, so I wouldn't say he was forgettable. D'Lo Brown, I fucking had him sign the thing. Holy shit, I completely forgot he was champion. I think he was only champion once for about a month. He was another forgettable one. Val Venus was a bit forgettable from the 90s. There's a lot of forgettable people starting in like the 2000s. Fucking Albert. Yes, Matt Bloom was a former IC champion. Completely forgot about that. Test. Totally forgot about Test. I feel like in the recent years, you kind of get into the people that you know held it. Ric Flair's reign wasn't overly memorable. He did hold it for a while from late 05 to early 06. Didn't do a ton with it, but he was champion for a bit. I guess so was Nakamura, but that was forgettable too. Like Booker T, Christian, RVD, Orton, Edge, all memorable, I think, IC champions. Hardy, Umaga, John Morrison, Shelton. Like, these are the people that I remember being Intercontinental Champion. William Regal, CM Punk. Not a very long reign for Punk, but he was a former champion. JBL, for a month, I would probably say he was forgettable because he held it, for such a short period of time. Cody Rhodes, obviously, a very memorable former Intercontinental Champion. Barrett held it a bunch from 2011 through 2015, 2016. He was champion quite a bit. Miz, obviously, one of the most memorable ever. Harper, I would not be surprised if people forgot that he was champion because he only held it for about a month in late 2014. So, I mean, I remember that, but I wouldn't be surprised if you told someone, oh, he was Intercontinental Champion. Yeah, I mean, it was such a very brief reign. Ryback was champion for quite a while. Not a great reign, but it's more memorable than Luke Harper's, I think. Ambrose held it quite a bit. Owens. Ryder, the thing is that he held it for a day, but I feel like people would remember that he was Intercontinental Champion because it was such a memorable win at WrestleMania. Like, obviously, the reign itself was completely non-existent because he lost it a day later. I think he might be the shortest reigning Intercontinental Champion ever, if I'm not mistaken. But, he won it in such spectacular fashion at Mania that I don't know if it's exactly forgettable. His reign might have been better than Nakamura's, even though Ryder only held it for a day. Ziggler, we know, held it. Lashley, Ambrose, Rollins, Roman, Balor. Braun, he had a very forgettable reign. He won it from Nakamura on SmackDown a couple of years ago, and then he did nothing with the title, and then he lost it about a month later at Elimination Chamber. That was a pretty forgettable reign, too. So, yeah, those are people. I know that was a very long answer, but those are probably some of the people I would put in that conversation as far as most forgettable Intercontinental Champions in the last 10, 15, 20, 25 years. At Reborn Again, or actually before we get to John's question, there was a question from, let's see here. Oh, shit. Fucking closed that on my phone. From Noel from Facebook. Here we go. Forgot to put it in the document, but I have her Facebook question here on my phone here. All right, their first question was, what would be your top 5 Elimination Chamber moments? Moments? I don't know. Matches, I'm sure I've said before. Shawn Michaels winning in 02, I wasn't a fan at the time. I wasn't watching wrestling at that point, but Shawn Michaels winning it in 02 in MSG will forever be, to me, one of the top Elimination Chamber moments of all time. I love that original match, and that might be one of the best they ever did, was that first one. So Shawn, reversing out of the pedigree, hitting Sweet Chin Music, amazing moment. That would probably be my first one. Goldberg spearing, I forgot who it was, Jericho, in one of those early 2000 Chamber matches. I think it was 03 maybe. Speared him right through the fucking pod. We've seen that spot a lot in recent years, but Goldberg doing it just hit different because it was so cool. So that one. I'm trying to think of other cool Elimination Chamber moments. Undertaker chokeslamming MVP off the top of a chamber back in 08 was pretty sick. That was a crazy spot. We haven't seen many crazy spots in recent years, I feel like. There's been some good chambers, not like great moments, so to speak, Kofi coming close to beating Bryan in 2019 was cool. Santino, too, in 2012. I would say him and Daniel Bryan going at it for the World Championship, even though I kind of figured Santino wasn't winning. That was a pretty memorable final stretch there. I'm trying to think what else. 2013, 2014, 2015 ones were just terrible. I think I talked about like the best and worst Elimination Chamber matches last week, but as far as moments go, those are the ones that immediately come to mind. Cena overcoming the odds only to be cashed in by Edge immediately afterward. That was obviously memorable, than not exactly having to do with the Elimination Chamber, but that was back in 2006. Yeah, those would probably be the top moments. I can't really think of any more beyond those. There's probably more I'm not thinking of, obviously, but Taker's chokeslam to MVP in 2008, Goldberg's spear through the pod, Shawn Michaels winning in 2002, Shawn Michaels interfering in the 2010 one, costing Undertaker the World Championship and allowing Shawn Michaels, or rather Chris Jericho, to win the World Heavyweight Championship that night. That was pretty memorable. I thought that was cool. I thought that was well done. I will never forget that closing sequence there of Shawn Michaels coming through the fucking grate and costing Taker the win, setting up their Mania match for the following month. That was cool. Yeah, those would probably be the biggest ones. I also like the 2011 SmackDown one. Edge and Ray, coming down to those two because they also started the match, I thought was really cool. I'm trying to think of any other ones that I'm not thinking of. Christian returned after that one too, and he was gone for a while. I really, really love that moment. That's probably my favorite Elimination Chamber moment, but again, it wasn't in the actual match. It happened afterward. Yeah, those would probably be my top ones. I just feel like in recent years, we haven't really had a lot of crazy Elimination Chamber moments. We've had some good matches, but none that I can really remember, like, vividly off the top of my head right now. Their second question, do you think Undertaker will go into the Hall of Fame given WrestleMania is in Texas? He should, and I thought he would, and he probably still will. Because I think they are doing the Hall of Fame this year. I don't think they've formally announced it yet. The thing is that they've usually announced at least a couple of Hall of Famers by now. They are really waiting on it this year for some reason, and I don't know why. They usually put up their first, Hall of Fame inductee in January because they want to start selling tickets for the Hall of Fame. And again, I don't even know if they're doing it yet. That's why they haven't announced anyone, because if they're not selling tickets for it, they don't give a fuck about the Hall of Fame. So then why would they announce anyone? That's the problem. They ran into this issue a few years ago too. When you don't do a Hall of Fame properly, like the Hall of Fame in recent years really has not been great at all. But like in the last couple of years, like last year, they didn't even do one. And I know they didn't have any fans that week for the most part. They only came in for Mania. They only did WrestleMania with fans, and that was it. But they still waited until the very last minute to announce anyone for the Hall of Fame. And I think whoever they're inducting deserves better than that. So I thought they would have announced Taker by now if he is going in. He probably still will. They need a headline person. I know there's Batista. He has to be free, though, because he couldn't make it last year, so he's not technically inducted yet. I think that was the first time I've ever seen someone say, hey, I can't make it. Can y'all hold off on me for another year? Because remember, he was supposed to go in 2 years ago. That's part of the reason why they were going to induct him 2 years ago, was because he was free that weekend. And he's from the Tampa area, I believe, so it would have made sense. But they weren't. I mean, they were in Tampa last year, but he just wasn't free, I think, so he couldn't make it. Yeah, so I guess we'll see. We'll see what they do and how it shakes out. But I do think Taker would be a good headline guest. They're in Texas. You could put in Michelle McCool, too, because that's his wife, and I think she's Hall of Fame worthy as well. But yeah, we'll see if they actually announce it or not. I would assume at the latest, I don't know. I know we have a pay-per-view on Saturday, maybe next Monday. I feel like it's after we get all the pay-per-views out of the way before WrestleMania, maybe then they'll start announcing people. Next Monday is going to be the 21st, and then at that point, WrestleMania is like 6 weeks away. So they could probably get away with doing one Hall of Fame announcement a week up until Mania itself. But Taker, to me, would be the headline guest. I'm not really sure who else it would be, unless it was Batista. But again, he would have to be free. But they're in Texas, so just induct Taker. It makes sense. And it would also hopefully ensure that he never wrestles again. So keep that in mind as well. At Reborning, and finally we get to John's question here. Check out his show on YouTube, Real Honesty with John Ritland, Real Honest Thoughts. He did a whole video on the Cody Rhodes, Brandy Rhodes story from yesterday, which we'll get into right now. Be sure to check out his channel. But his first question was, so is this Cody Brandy Rhodes news all an elaborate work or part of something that shows that all is not well in AEW backstage land? Definitely the latter. Definitely the latter. I don't believe for a second this is a work. If this is a work, this is the most elaborate work I have ever fucking seen. Like, I feel like a lot we say, oh, it's a work. Not we, but I mean, I just feel like there's a lot of people, oh, it's a work, it's a work, it's a work. How often does it actually end up being a work? And I know people didn't actually think, like I even said it was fucking dumb to think that Cody would actually leave when his contract came due. People were like, oh, people should be apologizing. You know, everyone doubted the story. It's not that people didn't think. The thing is that when the news came out, I didn't doubt that it was true. I didn't doubt that it was true that his contract was up. I mean, obviously, I assume that was fact. My issue was I didn't think it was that big of a deal because why would he leave is the thing. Now we know that anything can happen. I guess we kind of already knew that, but why would anyone think that he would leave AEW? We still don't know we don't have the whole story, which is why I can't really 100% speculate. I mean, I can't confirm anything that happened behind the scenes. I don't work there. I don't know these people. We can speculate, which is what I'm going to do, which is what we're all kind of doing right now and taking bits and pieces from this source and that source and putting the whole story together here. Is it a money thing? Was it unhappiness? Was it, I don't know. I have no idea. Was it lack of creative control because Tony Khan is taking more over than he was before? I don't fucking know. We'll get into that. It's not a work, though, I don't think. I just feel like, given who was reporting the story, I feel like it is very, very rare. I can't think of one instance where this has happened, where it's not like it's ringside news. Like, we're talking very credible sources here, specifically Meltzer, who's buddy-buddy with the Khan family, or Tony Khan and the Bucks and people like that. I'd be shocked if they were working him. But not only that, people like Sean Ross Sapp and PW Insider and Wade Keller and all these other people, some more credible than others, but I mean, they have emphasized this is not a work. The more that details come out about this thing in the last 24 hours, it's pretty clear that this is a real thing. I don't know if they would go this far to make it a work. Would they? Could they? Yeah, it's Cody Rhodes we're talking about here. The guy is, he's interesting to say the least. I just don't think that they would. I don't think they would put in this much effort and detail and, I mean, even WWE sources. Someone tried to tweet at me yesterday, oh, it's a work. I mean, if it's a work, then why are people in WWE saying, yeah, we've had communication with him? I mean, that just makes no sense. Wouldn't you think if this was a work, then wouldn't WWE say, yeah, well, I don't know what the fuck is going on? Like, what would they really benefit from Cody Rhodes saying it's a work, from it being a work, and them going along with it? They benefit not at all. So I think it's a case where it's like, I mean, I think it's true. I mean, if it wasn't true, wouldn't WWE just say, we've had no communication with Cody? They're not going to publicly say that, but it sounds like sources in the company are saying, yeah, there is talk of him potentially coming in, and it's looking likely. If it's a money thing, then WWE is going to offer it to him, and he's going to come on in. So I don't believe for a second it's a work. Is it possible? Sure. And I even said that about Cody Rhodes in the Rumble. I said, is Cody Rhodes going to be in the Rumble? No, I think it'd be stupid for him for people to think that. Just because you look at, like, at that point, I don't know if he was the TNT champion. I think he just actually lost the championship. But he had just been on AEW like 2 days before. Why the fuck would he have been in the Royal Rumble? I just feel like it didn't make any sense. It was stupid. I mean, he could have been technically, because he was a free agent at that point. Legally, I think he could have been. But he was also an EVP officially at that point. I guess he's not now, obviously. I mean, is it a lot more likely he shows up now? Yeah, it is, because it sounds like he is indeed gone. They've taken him off the posters and the roster page, which it can be a work. I mean, they took fucking Shawn Spears off the roster page, and that was a work. Like that shit I can believe being a work. Like when FTR was like, oh, we're done, we might be leaving the company, or Shawn Spears saying, oh, I'm done, I quit, or whatever. No credible sources were saying, oh yeah, they're gone. Like, I believe this to be true. Any other time where people have left and people thought it was a work, it wasn't. Like almost any other point in the last 10 years where these same sources were saying, no, this is real, it's not like they turned around and said, oh, we were actually duped, it was a work. I mean, I'm sure it's happened before, but like in recent years alone, when Punk left, I think I thought it was a work because it was just so unbelievable, but, at least for a time I did anyway. People were adamant that he was on good terms with the company, he was coming back, and he never fucking did. Dean Ambrose, him leaving, and when he rebranded himself as Jon Moxley right before he went to AEW, oh my God, it's a work, they're bringing him back as Jon Moxley. In what fucking way would that make sense? They let his contract expire, and then they're going to bring him back as Jon Moxley the following month? What purpose will that serve? People thinking that was a work were just fucking unbelievable. there's a lot of dumb shit like that people think that didn't. I mean, I understand questioning everything because it's wrestling, but when the details are there and the writing is on the wall and we're hearing from legit, credible people that get it right almost all the time, consider the source. It seems like if it barks like a dog, I mean, I used that analogy last week. It looks like a dog, it barks like a dog, it sounds like a dog, it fucking pisses like a dog, it's probably a dog. You know, it's the same thing with this type of shit. Like, if it's coming from all these credible sources and not just one website, like the Shane thing, it came from Ringside News, who I've doubted very heavily as their credibility. And we talked about it here on the show a week or two ago. But then all these other sources come out confirming it. It's like, all right, this is true then. Like the Shane thing, oh, is it a work? Is it even true? It is. He's actually gone because it came from actual credible sources. So, I don't know. I think it's definitely true. I don't think morale is as high in that company as they would like to pretend it is. I just don't like the notion that everything's all perfect in AEW. Not everyone believes that, but there is a mindset among, a select few fans, or I don't know. I just feel like people think it's all hunky-dory over there, and when their fucking founder leaves, it's like, well, shit. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't think it's that perfect of a company as people would like to make it out to be. It probably is a money thing, but this is the same guy that took a bet on himself. I mean, he probably would have making a lot of money had he stayed in WWE Stardust 10 years or 6 years ago or whatever. But he didn't. He wasn't about the money then. I mean, it's probably with the money now because he's made so much more since then. I don't know, man. I just feel like if he really believed in the company and it's like, oh, I'm already making enough, and it's like, it's not like they were offering him pennies. They probably were just offering him less than what he thought he was worth. And it's like, is Cody really worth that much? And we'll get into all of that. There's a lot to discuss here, but no, to answer your question as we go along here, I don't think it's a work. John's second question, so is Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania pretty much a lock now? I don't know if it's a lock per se, but I mean, I would be surprised at this point if we don't get it. I mean, the movie already came out, so I'm not really sure what Knoxville is gaining from. I mean, WWE is gaining some mainstream publicity. I don't know why Knoxville would want to stick around doing it aside from maybe just getting a quick paycheck, but he probably just genuinely enjoys doing it. And Sammy's been a great foil for him. They've done a lot of fun stuff on social media. They've aired it on SmackDown. Knoxville for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania just sounds fucking ridiculous. I mean, that really should have been like Sheamus and Nakamura or something with Sheamus winning. I mean, I just think it's a waste of a spot personally, and I like Knoxville. It should be entertaining. That is like an attraction match. I guess it gets more eyes on that championship than there have been for years now, but I mean, I don't want to see Johnny Knoxville win. I would have to go meet Johnny Knoxville and have him sign the championship, most likely. I'm not even saying it's impossible. I just think it'd be stupid if they put the belt on the guy, obviously. As it would be like a joke 24/7 thing. I just wouldn't do that. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know what else you do. I guess they could do a multi-man match with like Zayn and Nakamura, Sheamus, Cesaro, Ricochet, all those type of guys, because their mid-card is just like the same 6 people. They could do one of those multi-man ladder matches, which I feel like we've gotten a lot over the years on these shows. I wouldn't do that personally. It is an idea. I feel like they do at least one ladder match at WrestleMania every fucking year. I don't think they did one last year, but they had the tag team title one 2 years ago. 4 years ago, did they do a ladder? I thought, did they do a ladder match at WrestleMania 34? 35, I don't think they did, because I was there for that one. They did it 33, they did it 32, they did it 31. They've done a lot of ladder matches over the years. But anyway, I don't know what else you do. They're still pushing the Johnny Knoxville, Sami Zayn thing, so I'd be surprised if they didn't do that match at this point. So I don't know if it's a lock, but it's looking likely, because why else would Knoxville still be involved in the show? I mean, I know the movie's out. It already came out, but they might want to still get more eyes on the movie because it's still out in theaters currently. Maybe that's why in WWE gets some mainstream publicity out of it. Like, I know people that don't watch wrestling at all that know that Johnny Knoxville has been involved lately. You know, like people in my demographic, like people in their 20s. Oh, yeah, I know Knoxville was doing that WWE thing or whatever because they probably saw it online or on ESPN or some shit. I don't know. So, yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't hate the idea, but I also just, the idea of a celebrity going for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania is just a joke to me. But it also goes back to what we said earlier. The title means absolutely nothing. So at this point, who could possibly give a shit? You know, at this point, who could possibly care? So why the fuck not? Let's see. Next question here from John as well. With Brandy Rhodes seemingly gone from AEW, who does Paige Van Zandt feud with now, if anyone that is? I don't think she's going to be feuding with anyone. I think they thought that they were going to go in a direction where they do Brandi and Paige Van Zant at Revolution. I don't know if I said this on this show, but that segment with Brandi and Dan Lambert, Men of the Year, and Paige Van Zant a few weeks ago was fucking awful. That was one of the worst segments I have ever seen on Dynamite in the last 3 years. Holy shit, that was bad. Everyone in that segment came off as unlikable. So I think I can live without Brandi being on Dynamite. I will not shed a tear about her not being on the show. Cody, I've always been a big fan of. Brandi seems like a really nice person. She obviously did a lot for that company. I'm not saying she didn't do anything. I'm just saying as an on-air performer, she's not good at all. She's just not a good actor. She's not a good wrestler. I said here on the show a couple of weeks ago, she moderately improved in the ring from when I saw her the last time a few years ago. That doesn't mean that she should be in the ring with some of the women they have on that roster. Like, they have women that she's probably the worst one on that roster. Jade is better than her at this point. And Jade is, not to say Jade is bad, but she's also far less experienced than Brandi, who's been wrestling on and off for 6 or 7 years at this point. She's just not cut out to be in the ring. She's also not cut out to be a regular on-air character unless she is a valet. I think she's great behind the scenes doing the stuff that she was with the partnerships and the organizations and shit. That's great. As a valet, she's perfect. Someone cutting regular promos on the show, that is just not necessary. It was bad in AEW. It would be even worse in WWE. With some of the shit they'd probably have her say. No fucking thanks. I had sub-zero interest in a Van Zant Brandi Rhodes match. The only way that would be made worthwhile was if they did it and Paige beat her in a fucking minute. I mean, she's a former MMA fighter. Her win-loss record, from what I understand, is not the greatest, but she's far more of a legit athlete than fucking Paige Van Zant, than Brandi Rhodes. Fuck, I would say if Brandi Rhodes was in there with like a Ruby Soho or a Nyla Rose or someone like that, I would say she should still lose in a matter of minutes because she's not that good. She's not on those people's level, especially Paige Van Zant. So I'm glad they're not doing it. They probably just scrapped the whole thing. They could put Paige in another angle. I like the guy, but get Dan Lambert off the fucking show. His character is one of the worst parts of this show. It was him, Cody, Brandi, Jericho. Oh, my God. They are just some of the worst parts about the show currently. The Rhodes are gone. Time to clean up the rest of the shit. Not saying Jericho should leave. Do not have him on the show as much. Turn the guy heel. Tone down his presence on the show. There are far bigger stars and more people that are important today to that product than Chris fucking Jericho. They can go back to WWE and I would think it was cool, but just at this point, what they have him doing or what he's doing is just complete garbage. And Dan Lambert is also just, it doesn't serve a purpose. He's associated with losers. Men of the Year have lost how many fucking times? Lance Archer lost last week. His American Top Team goofs lost at fucking Full Gear to a group that's not going to break up. I mean, the guy is a loser. He manages losers. From that perception, from that perspective, he probably shouldn't be on the show anymore. He just doesn't serve a purpose. So, if he's not going to be on the show, and I don't think he should be, then Paige probably shouldn't be on the show. If she wants to train to become a wrestler and, take this seriously and really enter the professional wrestling realm, I think that'd be cool. Go the Ronda Rousey route. Not as big of a name, obviously, but she's a notable enough name where I think she'd be a great get for them if she actually applied herself, and maybe she already is, I don't know, but she entered wrestling full time. If it's going to be a celebrity one-off, it's just not necessary. Focus on your own fucking division. You have 2 women's titles at this point. You don't need Paige Van Zant. You don't. Unless it was to make sense, or if it was that big of a match, then yeah. But at this point, they don't even have any. It's not like they're babyface. It's not even like their champions are baby faces. Jade and Brett are both heels. So Paige coming in a feud with either one of them just doesn't make any sense. So I would hold off on Paige and bringing her in until it actually makes sense to do so. At Iwagu91, their first question was, would you like to see Adam Cole feud with CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, and Jon Moxley? Of course, I think any one of those feuds would be cool. Cole and Punk specifically, I know Cole grew up idolizing Punk and Danielson. That is very well documented. He thinks highly of both guys, so Cole versus either one of those, or just feuding with either one of those guys makes perfect sense and would be a lot of fun, especially on the mic for Cole and Punk. And Cole and Bryan, we know, can have a kick-ass match. They had that amazing match in the main event of SmackDown 2.5 years ago. So if they want to revisit that, that would be cool. Cole and Moxley, I don't think I've had any interaction at all. So, Cole came into the company in 2017. Moxley left in early 2019, but Cole was in NXT at that entire time, so they never crossed paths. So Moxley and Cole, and then like when Moxley first went to WWE, right before he went to WWE, Cole was like just getting started. So yeah, Cole and Moxley feud would be cool. Cole is the heel, Moxley is a babyface. I would love to see that. His second question, your thoughts on Eddie Guerrero winning the WWE title off of Brock Lesnar on this day / yesterday. Yeah, you sent that in on Tuesday. At this point, it would be yesterday. I saw your question. It didn't really register for me that it was 18 years ago yesterday that Eddie Guerrero won the championship until I was watching NXT, and the commentators mentioned it during the Santos Escobar match, because they're like, oh, Eddie's one of his idols, and he would love to win the NXT championship on the anniversary of Eddie becoming WWE champion. And he actually went for the frog splash at one point, which was cool. So yeah, I completely forgot yesterday was the anniversary. It got lost in all the other Steve Austin, Cody Rhodes news and everything else that happened this past week. So completely forgot about that. I didn't see a lot of people talking about it because they were all talking about the Cody Rhodes thing. But that is cool that Santos' match kind of coincided with that. I'm sure that meant a lot to him, even though he didn't win. Non-wrestling question, also from @UWagoo91. Following the Rams' Super Bowl victory this past Sunday, do you feel that Los Angeles is the home to so many great sports teams? I mean, I don't follow enough sports to tell you that. I honestly have no idea. I know the Lakers are Los Angeles, right? The Dodgers, didn't they win the World Series a year or two ago? They're from L.A., like you said, the Rams. Yeah, LA, listen, I don't follow basketball, baseball, football, soccer closely at all, but it seems like there's a lot of great athletes and sports teams that come out of Los Angeles, so you're probably right. You would know more than I do. I did watch the game the other day, by the way. I did watch the Super Bowl on Sunday. I enjoyed it. I had to take off from my friend's house where I was watching it right after halftime, but the first half looked great, and I caught the final few minutes when I got home. And it was a great game. I enjoyed the Super Bowl. I enjoyed the game itself. I enjoyed some of the commercials. People saying, oh, the commercials suck nowadays. They've been bad for years. The commercials have been bad for at least the last decade that I've been watching. So I'm sure it dates back even further than that. I think people have these memories of these amazing commercials from like 15 years ago, and it's just not the same anymore. I don't even get my hopes up for that shit anymore. But I just kind of go in for the trailers, and those always deliver, so I'm happy about that. At Supersonic X 1991, with neither Asuka or Bayley being announced as the sixth entrant for the Women's Elimination Chamber match this weekend, do you see them coming back next month in time for WrestleMania 38 or post WrestleMania 38? I really would have put Asuka in that Elimination Chamber. Surely you could have done something else with Alexa Bliss. I just feel like people got their hopes up for someone in that Elimination Chamber, for someone that wasn't already on the show. I mean, in storyline, if you really think about it, why the fuck would they have a sixth opening but not know in storyline who it was? They made it sound like on Monday, oh, Alexa Bliss, you're cured, and there just so happens to be an open entry into that matchup. You should take it. Holy, Alexa, shut up. Alexa, stop talking, please. Sorry to be rude, but I was like, that literally just gave me a heart attack. I'm like, what the fuck was that? Holy shit. Bliss, we will not say her first name at the risk of setting off the other A word over here, and I mean that in all other forms as well. Little Miss Bliss, I don't really care about her being in the chamber. I mean, I guess it's cool. Hopefully we see Little Miss Bliss in there, not the Fiend shit. They played her music when they announced her for the match. I groaned. I'm like, oh, that's terrible. The music is awful. Her new Fiend music is just atrocious. The whole character just got to a point where I was fucking dumb. But anyway, I just feel like her taking the spot was very underwhelming. I would have rather have seen Bayley or Asuka. Bayley is probably not ready yet. I've always said, I've been saying this for months, for people thinking, oh, she's going to be in the chamber. She's going to be in, she's going to be in the Royal Rumble. I have said for months. I said probably when she got hurt. I think she's going to be back the week after WrestleMania. That is not a lock. I've seen no one say that. I've seen no one speculate that. I'm just going off my own, my own instincts here. I think she would be a great post-WrestleMania surprise on either Raw or SmackDown. Probably SmackDown. Maybe Raw, because SmackDown has Ronda Rousey now. SmackDown already has Charlotte and Sasha. They don't need Bayley over there. They have Ronda as well, so they could probably afford to put Bayley on Raw for the first time in a few years. I never thought Bayley would be in the chamber. Asuka just made way too much sense. She's been gone for months. We heard a couple weeks ago she wasn't in the Rumble because they were holding off on. She would be ready around now. At this point, I mean, Asuka makes sense to come back before Mania because I just don't really see her as being as big. Bayley's been gone longer, and I just care more about Bayley than I do Asuka. Asuka would be a nice surprise for like right before Mania. The thing is that if she comes back before Mania, what do you even have her do? If they're going to do another WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal, then I guess she can be in that, and she never actually won that. So honestly, you know what? Bring her back before Mania. I think that's like the only thing she's never won in this company. She's held every championship. She won the fucking Mixed Match Challenge, for God's sakes. She has done everything. When Money in the Bank, she won, I guess not the Queen's Crown, but she won the Rumble. She won all this other shit. Mixed Match Challenge, a few other things as well. Just give her the WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal a win at this point. So that is what I would do with her if they were to bring her back. They could wait until after Mania, but I would hope she's already ready. I mean, I guess it was a shoulder injury or something that she had. I forgot it. We mentioned it here a couple of weeks ago, but I would bring her back beforehand. If you're saving Bayley for after Mania and hopefully an NXT call-up, at least one or two, then I would bring back Asuka before then, do the Battle Royal, have her win it. It's better than nothing. Or maybe she was in it. No, she was in it in 2019. She didn't win. Carmella won, but I would have her win that, though. Let's see. Their next question. With all the news of Cody and Brandi leaving AEW, what direction does AEW take for the rest of 2022? Will AEW sign more indie guys and former WWE talent, or did they do the usual like they did before? I don't know what the usual is, because they've been signing indie talent and WWE talent since the beginning. I mean, they had fucking Jack Swagger on their first Dynamite show. Their first major show with Double or Nothing, they brought in Jon Moxley, who was fresh off of WWE. Sean Spears, same thing. Goldust, same thing. They have been signing ex-WWE talent from the get-go, which is fine. They do a little too much of it now and bringing in people like Tony fucking Nese. I mean, really? I mean, that's a complete waste of a spot. I like Tony Nese. They have done absolutely nothing with the guy since he came in, though. I mean, that is just a waste of a signing, in my opinion. Anyway, I don't think Cody and Brandi leaving is really going to affect the direction that AEW goes in for the rest of the year. I know Cody was an EVP. Very integral behind the scenes, very important in getting AEW to where it is today. I don't think their booking plans change all this much for the rest of the year. I mean, they probably would have put Cody back in the world title picture at some point, against Cody's wishes, because he made up that dumb stipulation, I'll never go for the world title. Why would you do that? Like, he can go for the title but not actually win it. I just thought that was really stupid for him to pigeonhole himself by doing that, because he relegated himself to the mid-card for the entire time he was fucking there. Didn't main event a single... I guess he main evented Double or Nothing 2020 in the Stadium Stampede match. But anyway. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't really think their projection changes with AEW for the rest of the year. Cody and Brandi being gone, I mean, I will tell you this. I said this before. Dynamite will be better off. Cody can do great stuff. But I think at this point, he might just need a change of pace. I think from a business standpoint, it was dumb for him to leave AEW just because he has creative control. He was an EVP. I'm sure he's not making pennies. You know what I mean? Like, I just thought that was dumb for him to leave, but we'll see what he does next. WWE, it's a ginormous risk. And don't think, just because they're bringing him in under this top-tier talent deal, that means they're going to have to push him. No, it doesn't. They have brought in people before, and I mean, they were going to pay the Revival. They paid the fucking club, the OC or whatever their names were, Gallows and Anderson, a ridiculous amount of money to do nothing for their last 9 months there before they fucking fired them. So the idea that they have to push Cody because they're going to offer him a lot of money is not true. It makes it more likely. It's far from a guarantee. I doubt they would sign Cody under the idea that we're going to definitely make you a main eventer. Like, if we don't, we'll let you go. No, they might promise him the world. Will they actually give him the world is the question. I don't know. It's a real risk. And I hope it pays off. But as far as AEW goes, I don't really see anything changing. They're already still signing a lot of talent. I'm sure Tony Khan isn't done signing talent yet. I mean, they got to clear out their roster of all the people they just don't need at this point. There's a lot of people on that roster page, if you go to their website, that really just have no business being there at this point. I said their names a few weeks ago. We don't have to go back into it here. Cody was not involved in the world title picture. He helped put a lot of people over. There's some other people he beaten that he probably shouldn't have. But his creative bottom line has been one of the worst parts of Dynamite for the last year. So him being gone, honestly, doesn't make Dynamite any worse. It probably will make it better. Brandi especially, too. I mean, her shit was fucking terrible. He could have been great, and he was great for them early on, but in the last year or so, he's had some kick-ass matches, but he's also had a lot of dumb, weird storylines with Anthony Ogogo and QT Marshall and Shaq, and the samey stuff was weird too. Like the interim TNT title shit was fucking weird. So, we'll see. I don't think anything changes from AEW's standpoint as far as who they hire and who they don't hire. I mean, that shit has always been the same, so I'm not really sure what you're talking about. Like they did before. What does that even mean? At Kyle Rochelle 19, their question was, now that Alexa Bliss is in the Elimination Chamber, can you see it coming down to Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, and Alexa Bliss as the final three? Does Alexa win, or is Bianca facing Becky Lynch at WrestleMania? Now, Bianca's facing Becky at this point. Now that we know Ronda and Charlotte is happening, I've seen on live event listings that, they have Ronda Rousey in there as a triple threat. I think I don't think Rhea Ripley's going to be in there. Did I say Ronda? I meant to say Rhea. If I said Ronda, I meant Rhea. I think they're just doing the triple threats at the house shows because they're not going to do their WrestleMania match before. Like, if you're going to this house show, why would they have you see a WrestleMania match before? I know they're like practicing and shit, but it's like, they're doing the match now? Like, why would I watch WrestleMania if I'm seeing Becky and Bianca before then? I don't think they would do that with a house show match. I could see that with any other pay-per-view main event. But with a WrestleMania caliber match like that, I don't think they'd be doing that on the house shows, in my opinion. Right before WrestleMania. So I think that's probably why they have Rhea Ripley in there. If she actually gets added, I don't hate that idea, but I really think Bianca should be beating Becky one-on-one, getting that moment, getting that match, and there it is. So I don't think Alexa should win. I have no desire to see Alexa Bliss versus Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. Alexa Bliss being back in the title picture, I don't hate that. I like Alexa Bliss, but her and Becky at Mania is not a WrestleMania match. It doesn't make a lot of sense. No thanks. So as the final three go, Bianca, Rhea, and Alexa, no, that makes perfect sense. The other three women are Doudrop, Liv, and Nikki Ash. Nikki Ash is not going to be the fucking final three. I mean, it was the first three women gone from the gauntlet for a reason. So yes, it'll very, very likely, I would bet all my money on it, and I'm not, but I would be shocked if it did not come down to Bianca, Rhea, and Alexa as the final three. At JDSI 121976, JCD's first question here was, or his only question, how do you justify spending the money Tony Khan has spent, but balk at paying Cody reportedly, quote-unquote, CM Punk money? Again, it sounds like it was a money thing to me. We've heard a lot of different reports, but I don't know. It sounds like Cody wanted more than what Tony Khan thought he was worth, and they didn't want to pay him whatever he wanted. So Cody's gone. Brandy too. And the thing is that we're not going to get exact numbers, nor do we need exact numbers. I would love to know it's not anyone's fault per se, but I would love to know who this falls on though. Is it Tony Khan the guy, they obviously have a budget, but I mean, if they're paying all this money and bringing in Keith Lee and fucking Tony Nese, who I'm sure they're not paying $1 million to, they're paying a lot of people a lot of money. Like, they have a lot of people on their roster. If you really wanted to make room for the Cody budget, you could stand to get rid of a few guys. The thing is, with me, if they really wanted to keep Cody, if Tony, when I say they, I mean Tony, if he really wanted to keep Cody, they would have figured out a way to do so. If Cody really wanted to stay, he would have figured out a way to do so. I'm not saying he should take a pay cut, but it just... Maybe Tony's, I would love to know, I would love to be a fly on the room for these conversations. In Tony's mind, it's just like, all right, am I going to pay him top money even though he's not going to be main eventer for my company? Like, we do not have Cody figured into any important plans going forward. The guy's been doing random shit for the last year. Why would I pay him CM Punk money? And to be fair, that would be accurate. Cody is not doing anything major. If Cody isn't on Dynamite, they're not going to really miss a beat. I mean, Punk wasn't on Dynamite for the first 2 years, and the show was still very good. CM Punk, to me, is a much more of a focal point, and I would much rather see Punk on the show at this point than Cody. Cody is great, but what they've had him doing or what he's wanted to do has been complete fucking garbage. And that's his own doing if it's his own creative. If it's his own ideas, that's his own fault. I don't know. If the guy's a founder, like if this was anyone else and they're like, him and Jericho couldn't come to terms on a new deal, I'd be like, okay. I don't think I really would have thought anything else of it. But because it's Cody, and the guy was so gung-ho, whoa, it's my home, it's about the revolution, we're going to change the universe, and Be right back. I'm going to go back home for a little while to WWE. Yeah, it's a money thing, but it's a money thing now, but it wasn't always about the money with this guy. Like, if it was about the money all the time with Cody, then he would have stayed in WWE 6 years ago. He started his own company. Again, if it was all about the money originally, then why didn't he go to WWE 3 years ago? That's a great question. If it was all about the money for Cody, I mean, I know he is a kid now. Times have changed, but he's going to be on the road a lot more than he was with AEW. He's not going to have as much power, have no power. He's just going to be a talent there, very likely. They're not going to put him on the fucking writing team, and they very likely should, and very arguably should not, because Cody's ideas are not all great ones. I don't know, man. It's just, it's weird. It's really weird. I don't know if it's because Tony just didn't really want to keep him. He's like, oh, this is an excuse to like kind of let him go. I don't know. Or if it's Cody saying, I'm worth $10 million, and Tony's like, no, that's silly. And Cody's overvaluing in his own stock. He's overvaluing what he's actually worth. It could be a combination of both. I would love to know. We still don't know. It's been a day. I've seen a lot of reports. It sounds like it boiled down to money. They couldn't come to terms on a new deal, and that's it. Again, that's a very normal thing. That's a very normal thing. The thing is, though, Danielson, same thing. Like, him and WWE couldn't come to terms, so he didn't go back. He went to AEW instead. The thing is, though, this is one of the founders, one of the EVPs, one of the biggest puzzle pieces in that company. Maybe not as integral to the TV success currently, but he's played a very big role behind the scenes. He really started up the idea of, I'll take your bet, Dave. Let's do All In, and then he's going back to WWE. He's taking all these fucking shots at Terry Taylor's arm drag class and armbar class or whatever in NXT, and that's going to be exactly where he ends up. Maybe not NXT. It's very weird because if it was almost anyone else, I'd be like, okay, whatever. But it's Cody Rhodes. The guy was a big, fuck WWE. I don't know if he ever said that specifically, but it was more like, oh, fuck the Fed. Like, let's go start our own shit and do our own thing and be our own bosses. Oh, again, like I said, be right back, though. I'm going to go back to WWE for a little while, make some money. So, but you guys continue on, though. Keep doing your thing. That's what I find very surprising. I guess we'll see how this story plays out. But the whole money thing to me is just, I know they're on a budget, but you would think that they would pay the guy whatever he wants, and just because he's a founder. I mean, why would you want to let him go? I feel like that sends a poor message to the rest of the roster that, like, unless Cody was impossible to work with, which I don't believe. I mean, he's probably tough to deal with, but on certain things, I'm sure, as far as his own creative goes and it just being shit and him being stubborn or whatever, I'm sure. I don't know. I just feel like it sends a weird message to this guy. It's like, oh, it's all about AEW. We're all elite. And then it's like, oh, but he's leaving. He's going back to WWE. That to me just seems very weird. At the Wrestle Guy Sal, his first question was, with the Cody buzz going on, in your opinion, was there ever a time in WWE where you felt he was truly ready to hold or win a world title? If so, what time period in his run was it? That's a great question. I have always said, I will always stand by this. The time to make Cody Rhodes a main eventer, really pull the trigger on a Cody Rhodes main event run, and maybe it wouldn't have worked. To me, the time to do it would have been in 2013. Now, there were actually two times. One was in 2012. He was coming off of that great Intercontinental Championship run. The first one. He held the belt like a second time for about a fucking month in 2012. Coming out of WrestleMania. He lost it to the Big Show, which was stupid. But, Cody was champion for a good 8 months. He was already facing and having matches with top talent already. Like, he had matches with, Big Show at WrestleMania, but he had matches with Randy Orton. He beat Randy Orton a couple times. They had him beat Booker T like several times back at that point. Like, he was beating a lot of top talent. And then he dropped the title, and I'm thinking, oh, here we go. Cody Rhodes going to win Money in the Bank. And they did nothing with him. Cody did nothing for the rest of 2012. Nothing. He formed the tag team with Damian Sandow, which was very entertaining. But I'm thinking that would have been the time. They put the briefcase on Dolph instead, which was fine. Dolph obviously won it and went on to become world champion, and that reign was fucked up. Maybe Cody would have been another Dolph had he won. Who knows? I don't know if they've ever actually seen Cody as a main eventer. They had many opportunities to break him off and have him do his own thing. There were three. I just mentioned one. The second one was in 2013.
He was done with he's still kind of teaming with Sandow, but he was getting over as a babyface at this point. They were in Philly. The crowd really wanted Cody to win that briefcase. They had Sandow win instead. Okay, fine. But then the follow-up was almost non-existent. They did nothing with the guy. They put him with Goldust. He was still really over. They put him in the tag team ranks, and him and Goldust had a great run together. But I'm like, okay, you should probably be pushing him on his own, though, is the thing. Why aren't they doing anything with him on his own? And then, okay, they do the Goldust thing, whatever. All right, here we go, 2014. Are they going to break up him and Goldust? He can go out on his own. Maybe he turns heel again. And then they pull the trigger on a main event push for Cody Rhodes. And they still didn't do it. I mean, they just kept him together and turned him to fucking Stardust instead. Why would you? What was the point of even doing Stardust? The Stardust shit was fucking stupid. He really put a lot of effort into it, but the character sucked. And Cody was just so much better than that. He went on to win the world title in Ring of Honor a fucking year later, as he should have. I don't know. I hated what they did with Cody towards the end there. I've always been a big Cody fan, so whenever they fucked him up and they didn't really push him as properly as they should have, that to me just made no sense. He has proven outside of WWE he can be a main eventer. Is he a main eventer now by modern day WWE standards when we have Bobby Lashley and Roman Reigns as WWE and Universal Champion respectively? I don't know. That's the question. Can I see conceivably Cody Rhodes beating Roman Reigns currently? No, I don't. But if they were to bring him in as a big star, promote him as such, maybe. I currently see him being brought in and being put at like the mid-card level. I honestly do. I hope that they do more with him than that, and he gets like an AJ Styles run from 2016. But I'm not confident that's the case, because it's not like with AJ, like where he came from the competition. Cody created the competition. They might be and are a very petty company, and they could be very petty in bringing him in and completely burying him and then cutting him due to budget cuts. I could absolutely see that happening. I hope it doesn't, but you never know. So I think he can be a world champion in WWE. He can't go for the AEW world title, but he can't go to the WWE World Championship picture. That's the caveat. He can go for a WWE world title, just not the AEW World Championship. I would love to see him as a WWE or Universal Champion. I think he can be. Would they push him as such? I don't think they will, because I feel like if they didn't see him as a champion before, I mean, you could say that about Drew. They didn't before he left, and they came back, and then they did, I guess. But Drew is just not... He looks more like a Vince guy than Cody Rhodes does. Let's just put it that way. That fucking ugly tattoo is not going to help his cause either. Sal's second question here. If Steve Austin versus Kevin Owens truly does happen at WrestleMania, do you feel as if it will be how The Undertaker versus John Cena was back at WrestleMania 34? Unannounced match, but ends up happening, or do you think WWE would build it up over the course of a couple of weeks? So this is how I see it either playing out. There's a couple different roads they can take with it here. Like you said, they can have Kevin Owens talk shit about Texas leading up to WrestleMania. He issues an open challenge. Out comes Stone Cold. Place goes nuts, and he wins, and that's it. That is one way they could do it. Two, they might not even do a match. It's not confirmed that Steve Austin is wrestling. It's just rumored. It's heavily rumored. So they might not even do it. If they don't, they could just put him on the KO show, and they could do the KO show at WrestleMania, a la Piper's Pit from a few years ago. That is another possibility. What I would do if he is wrestling, though, and this is what I would like to see happen, have Kevin Owens keep talking about shit for another week or two, and then bring back Steve Austin in the next couple of weeks, and you set up a match that way. You actually build towards a match. You build towards a match. You just don't have him make an unannounced appearance. Because here's the thing, though. They need... Maybe you can bring in, like, The Rock for Mania and not advertise him. You need to advertise Stone Cold. I know they didn't with WrestleMania 32. I think a lot of people figured he would be there in some form or fashion. The thing with WrestleMania 32, though, they already advertised The Rock. They were advertising The Rock. They were advertising a lot of other people. The Undertaker, Triple H being on the card. They don't really have that this year. They have Ronda, they have Brock, and that's cool. Cody's not on that level. They need, like, one of those big names. And especially being in Texas, Steve Austin would be that guy. Steve Austin would sell tickets to WrestleMania. Without a fucking doubt. No doubt in my mind. He would be a big, he would sell a lot more tickets for Mania than pretty much anyone else in the current roster or anyone else they can bring back. So, with that being said, I feel like you got to announce it, and I think they should. They should give it the build it deserves. It could be a 2-minute match, I get that, but I think you would have to announce Steve Austin and really build up the fact this is his first match in almost 20 years. This is a big deal. This is a big deal. Announce it, build it up, put him on the poster. Doesn't matter how long the match is. They do it. It's a big deal. People fucking love it, and that's it. So I would announce it personally. You can have another big surprise at WrestleMania, a la the Hardy Boys, but I think you should advertise someone like Steve Austin in advance, in Texas no less. Not a wrestling-related question, but what are your expectations for The Batman? Do you expect it to be good, and are you looking forward to it? I am. I have seen the trailers. It does look good. I'm not a big DC guy, but the first Wonder Woman was good. The second one was complete garbage, and I didn't like the Snyder Cut Justice League, but I did see, Suicide Squad last year. Peacemaker's great, too. Suicide Squad was great. Shazam I like. So their movies are very hit or miss. The Batman looks good, though. The Batman does look like a good movie. What's his name? Robert Pattinson playing Bruce. What's his name? Not Bruce Banner. I don't remember what Batman's real name is, but he's playing Batman. I've been following the trailers for like 2 years, whenever they first put him out, right before the pandemic hit. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it, and it looks like it's going to be a great movie. So there's not a lot of like big movies coming out in the next month or two. I think that comes out in late March, right? Or early March or something. I don't remember, but I'm looking forward to Doctor Strange. There's not a lot of other super exciting movies I'm looking forward to in the meantime. So hopefully, hopefully that does come out soon and I can go watch it whenever it comes out. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it though. At Thomas_B96, and I also expect it to be good. I forgot to mention that. At Thomas_B96, do you think if Tony Khan and Cody weren't able to come to a deal, that must mean that TK isn't a money mark, like people often think he is after signing so much talent? Also, who do you see following suit in the near future? Is he a money mark? No, but it's like at this point, the thing is that I do think Tony Khan is a mark. I mean, I'm a mark, you're a mark, we're all marks. I mean, the guy is, he's a mark for like, I'm a mark for Roppongi Vice and the Young Bucks. I mean, that's one of the most markish things I've ever fucking heard. And when he said that in a statement on Twitter, I mean, good for him for liking wrestling, but it was just like weird the way that he worded it. I don't know. That's just nitpicking. I wouldn't call him a money mark, because like you said, he didn't ultimately give Cody what Cody felt that he wanted or felt like he was owed or deserved or whatever. So is he a money mark in that respect? No. But he is signing it. Like, was there really a use in signing someone like a Tony Nese? I mean, give me a break. Seriously, like, you're just dishing. That's just, if you really have a budget, I'm sure Tony Nese isn't making $1 million, but why waste the money on someone like that when you can contribute it, put it towards Cody's pay instead? I feel like Cody's a far more valuable asset to that company than Tony Nese ever will be. I'm sorry, but it's true. I just don't think they need someone like that when they already have a bloated-ass roster. So he's a money mark in the fact the guy's loaded, and then he's signing a lot more people than any other company could aside from WWE. And he's only one man. Vince is one man too, but he also has the backing of the company behind him, so they can afford pretty much whatever the fuck they want. For a company the size of AEW, which has only been around for a couple of years, they're signing all of these people because Tony Khan is loaded. If the guy wasn't loaded, they wouldn't be able to bring in Punk or Danielson or Cole or all these other people. At least not at the rate that they are. So, I don't know. I think the whole money mark thing is debatable. I wouldn't call him a money mark. I would just say, I don't know. I just wouldn't have him sign as many people as he is. I think after signing so much talent, he is a money mark in that respect. Is he paying everyone $10 bajillion? I mean, I think Vince might be more of a money mark in that respect. That they were giving Mojo Rawley $500,000. Why? He did nothing. Paying Jinder $700,000. Why? The Revival before they left. Why? The fucking club. I like the Revival, but are they worth $750,000 each? Probably not. Same with the club and all those other people that were offered ridiculous contracts. Is Kevin Owens worth $2 to $3 million a year? Probably not, to be honest with you. Good for him for making that bank. That's not a dumb decision on his part at all. But they're more money marks than Tony Khan is, in the sense that they're giving people money that they're not even worth. And they just don't want him to leave with Kevin Owens. I don't know. It's just, if Kevin Owens was worth $2 to $3 million, and the guy would be in the main event all the fucking time, but he's not. So, I don't know. The guy lost to Austin Theory a week or two ago. Is he really worth $2 to $3 million a year? Probably not if they don't really see him on that level. But hey, good for him for making that amount of money, though. I think that's great. At Lionheart Poker from Twitter, book Cody at WrestleMania and give us an outcome. Is he a heel or face? Does he have immediate championship implications? which version of Cody surfaces? I mean, it's got to be... I think if you really want to capitalize off of AEW Cody Rhodes, you have him doing what he was doing in AEW. I mean, I'd say have him do what he was doing in AEW, but I'm saying as the American Nightmare. I think if he came back to Smoke and Mirrors, that'd be cool, but I feel like if you really, really want to make Cody, if he comes back with the blonde hair, like we didn't see him have blonde hair 6 years ago. He was Stardust, but he had a shaved head. He always had brown hair. He has that ugly-ass tattoo on his neck now, so you can't really ignore that. You gotta bring him in as the character of what he was doing outside of WWE. New music, bring in the downstate music. I don't see why not. WWE works with downstate anyway on other theme songs. Use the downstate music. When I say do the same thing, don't be a fucking douche as a heel, but actually be a babyface. I think that is stupid. Either be a babyface or be a heel. There are shades of gray, but what he was doing in AEW, I'm not turning heel. That shit was fucking stupid. Don't come in cutting promos about, I created the Forbidden Door and here's the pipe bomb and all this other shit. It's like, what are you even talking about? In that sense, they need to script his promos. Hopefully the verbiage isn't terrible, but they need to put some limitations on what the fuck this guy says out on TV. Beyond that, though, I would bring him in as that Cody Rhodes. 2, does he have immediate championship implications? No, because that would bring him in for WrestleMania. And is he in the top title match on either show? I mean, could he be in the WWE title match at Mania? I mean, I guess, but it's like, I just feel like for people that weren't following AEW, and there's probably a decent amount of people that just, I remember Cody Rhodes. He was a loser the last time I saw him. I don't know. I just feel like you would need to really slowly reintroduce him as a big deal as opposed to bringing him in and putting him in the world title picture. I just feel like that, to me, at this point, isn't like a WrestleMania marquee match because he hasn't been reestablished in that company as a big deal. I don't know. I just feel like it's not even like he was a world champion over in AEW. The guy became a big name, but it's not like he was main eventing pay-per-views every week over there. If Kenny Omega came in, I would be like, okay, yeah, I would get that. But Cody, gonna be honest here, Cody Rhodes is not Kenny Omega. Cody Rhodes is not what Cody Rhodes is not what AJ Styles was 5-6 years ago. I don't think people want to admit that, and this is a big deal if WWE brings in Cody Rhodes. As far as being a big name and a top tier talent, Cody is not what AJ was or what Kenny could have been had he come into WWE. He's just not. He could be a top champion. I think I would love to see him as a WWE champion. I just think it might take some time to reestablish him as such. So I might put him, to me, book him at WrestleMania, give him Seth Rollins. What else is Rollins doing at WrestleMania? Nothing. I mean, if he faces Kevin, that would make sense. I just don't really care at this point because we've seen that so many times. I don't really want to see that. Seth is probably the biggest name without a match right now. I mean, him and Bobby, I guess, is a possibility. But I just think Cody and Seth would be cooler. It's a nicer match. I don't know. I would like to see that match personally. So Seth and Cody would be the match that I do. Make him a face. I mean, he's going to come in and get a lot of cheers. After a certain point, if he gets booed by the same people he was getting booed by in WWE, or AEW rather, then you turn him heel because the guy can be a great heel too. And the best part is, he's going to do whatever the fuck they tell him to do. It's not like Tony Khan being like, oh yeah, you can do whatever you want. No. If they want him to be a heel, he's going to be a fucking heel. Unfortunately, the problem with that is that they come up with bad ideas. So when they tell him to do stuff, hopefully it's good ideas. But it's WWE, so we don't have a lot of faith in that respect. So I can't really say for a fact. I would love to say, they would tell him to do what to do, and he can't be like, I don't really feel like going heel. I feel like I'm betraying my fans. Shut the fuck up and turn heel. Otherwise, you're not welcome here. Like, you do what we say. Usually what they say is pretty stupid, but if they tell him to turn heel, you turn fucking heel. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He's not Brock Lesnar. Give me a break. So I would bring him in as a babyface. I would put him up against Rollins, not go for a championship for a little while, have him beat Seth and maybe someone else, and maybe then he goes for the Universal title. I don't know. And then which version of Cody Rhodes surfaces? Again, like I said, American Nightmare Cody Rhodes. Smoke and Mirrors Cody Rhodes is cool. Stardust, obviously not, but mustache Cody, no. Undashing Cody Rhodes was a mid-card gimmick, although it was fun. He would have to be the same guy that he was in AEW. Blonde hair, robe, music, do all that shit in WWE. I think that'd be cool. Let's see. Last two questions here from Matt Misdemeanor 6. First question was, will it be Hook that takes the FTW Championship off of Ricky Starks? And by doing so, will he make it relevant in AEW? I don't think the FTW Championship will ever be relevant in AEW. The title is a complete fucking waste, and it's a prop. It's just a complete waste of a championship or whatever. So no, I don't think it'll ever be relevant even around the waist of Hook. I don't think he's going to be the one to take it off of Ricky. I think Ricky would lose it to someone else, and then Hook takes it to kind of, win it back for his father or whatever, I guess. If he wins it off of Ricky, then that means Hook would either have to be a babyface and split away from the rest of Team Taz, or they would have to turn a Ricky Starks face, which they already did with Brian Cage by branching him away from the group, and that went nowhere, so I wouldn't do that. I think it's more likely, fuck the FTW Championship, no pun intended, but listen, I don't give a shit about Hook, really. I think the guy's impressive. I don't think he's the next big thing in wrestling, at least not yet. But listen, if you really want to capitalize off the Hook shit, you make him TNT champion. I mean, him beating Sammy, I could totally see. I wouldn't even have an issue with that. I don't really give a shit about Sammy at this point. I just feel like he's been coasting for a little while now. He's not the big babyface I thought he would be. I mean, he's had a lot of great matches, but he's just annoying. So I think he's just a more natural heel. But yeah, I would have Hook beat him for it. I would give the TNT title to Hook. Fuck the FTW Championship. Throw that shit in the trash. It's, again, like I said, completely pointless. And then the last question here, would you like to see more submission/I Quit matches in AEW for a change instead of Texas Deathmatch / hardcore matches? Yeah, I just feel like with a submission match or an I Quit match, it has to fit the feud. Like, we see a lot of hardcore matches because it's a simple stipulation to give to pretty much any feud or any two people. Anyone can have a hardcore match. The I Quit match, I would save that for when it's a most personal feud, for when there's a real heated blood feud. It's a match that hardcore matches are simple. We see a lot of them in AEW, and I really wish they would tone down. I feel like we see one a fucking week and all the gimmick matches. The I Quit matches are only good once in a while. You can't do them as often as you do hardcore matches. Or the Texas Death matches. I mean, that most recent one was crazy, but it's like, what was the point of the stipulation? They weren't even in fucking Texas. I know Archer is from Texas, but give me a break. They just gave it a stipulation because no one would give a fuck about the actual match between Adam Page and Lance Archer, so they gave it that stip, and therefore more people cared. But they actually did a submission match recently with Ty Conti and Penelope Ford. I don't know what submissions Penelope Ford has. I know that, what's her name? Ty Conti does. Ty Conti has a submission. She won that submission match, and that was it. We haven't seen many more since then. It would have to make sense, like a Bryan Danielson match versus like a Daniel Garcia. That makes sense to be a submission match. Like, it has to fit that person. You can't just give a submission match to anyone on the roster. That goes for any company. And for an I Quit match, it doesn't have to be a submission. It essentially is a submission match, but you can use weapons and shit, and that's more for blood feuds, which AEW doesn't really feel like it has a lot of. Like, a Punk and MJF match being an I Quit match, that makes sense. But again, you don't want to do I Quit matches a lot, because I feel like WWE went through a period where they were doing one every once in a while, or like a little more often than they should, and they just weren't that good. So they got to do it when it matters, and they got to have the right two people involved. And that's going to do it, guys, for episode 429 of #AskGSM here today for Wednesday, February 16, 2022. What a week in wrestling. One of our longest episodes in recent memory. Thank you guys for checking out the show. As always, I appreciate it. Be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, subscribe to the channel for more daily content. And we'll be back here tomorrow on the channel with WrestleRant radio excerpts, breaking down even more of the Steve Austin news, Cody Rhodes news. I'm sure more is going to be out on both fronts by tomorrow. So join us on WrestleRant Radio, myself and Mr. Marceau, on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Google Podcasts, Pandora, Amazon Music. New episodes every single Friday. And like I said earlier here on the channel, we had Santos Escobar for an interview on Monday. That went up in article form on Daily DDT yesterday, so check that interview out. And we got Becky Lynch, the Raw Women's Champion, coming up here on the channel on Friday, and then another interview next week with an AEW star to be determined. So I actually did that interview earlier today. The Becky Lynch one goes up on Friday, though. It's in audio form. Talked to her over the phone the other day. She was great. Stay tuned for that on Friday. Till then, guys, have a great rest of your week. I'm Graham GSM Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.